Welcome back to the Be Ruthless Show. I'm your host, Sam Ruth, and joining me today is Karen Mikos, who brings with her 27 years of experience as a registered nurse. She's been an end-of-life specialist for the past 4 years, and she is the creator of the Quietest House, a concierge service dedicated to supporting folks at the end of life. One of our Faces of Grief authors. Thank you so much for making time. I think we're both going through it, huh?
Yeah, definitely been in the eye of the needle and back around and upside down. And yeah, but that's life, right? Like,
That's life.
yeah.
That is life. That's why we both do what we do. And I don't think people look at us and think that we are in the storm anymore.
Yeah, no, I hide it well. I hide it well.
I don't. I don't try to hide it. I don't want to hide it. I don't think we should have to.
I totally agree. And I definitely have that group of friends and relatives that I can lean on to. But for the most part, I'm an open book, but you gotta read the pages, you know?
I can't hide it on my face. I can't. So someone who knows, we shared this graphic of our episode in groups and somewhere. And so there was a description and someone saw end of life something and commented, "Oh dear God, I hope this isn't one of those shows about promoting." I don't even remember the rest because my fumes started going.
Yeah.
And I said, this is one of our authors from Faces of Grief, a book about all different types of loss. Thought that was pretty mellow for Sam.
Yeah, I think this book is kind of coming at a real pivotal time for society, for people in general. Grief has been this growing undercurrent, I think magnified by COVID. And like there's just so many different kinds of loss during COVID. And as a world, as a people, like a whole global kind of community, we're suffering. We are suffering, and we don't know what to do with it.
We in the professional world, I'll just go back to 9/11. I mean, being a part of that day, working, it was my first day working with the schools. I was in Michigan at that time. But by the end of the day, I didn't have any tragedies personally, but I was working with people who did, who couldn't reach their family in the military.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Well, maybe she will return and we will start again. I was talking about the impact I went through on 9/11 just at the end of the day as a professional in the world, dealing with people going through trauma. And here she is. Here you are.
I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, it's me. It's Colorado. It's StreamYard. So I was finishing up saying that just, the impact at the end of the day of what we go through, whether it's you being a nurse, working with what we see, even when it's not our own stuff. I don't think people understand the toll other people's loss can take on us.
Absolutely. I mean, it's loss is a community event. I'm currently dealing with some sick parents, and my father has been a huge kind of staple in our community for decades. So, when he goes, it's not just my loss. It's not just my family's loss. It's really going to be their community. And, it has an impact. It has an impact.
What do you do to take care of yourself?
Yeah, it's a good question. Kind of has been coming up more lately as I stretch myself. So quiet time, walks in nature. Nature, for whatever reason, really regenerates, rejuvenates. And, spending time with the people that I love, just doing nothing, just being in their love, really.
We connected through someone who I think you've known for a long time, who might be one of those people who's also in this book. You do seem to have an amazing network. We can isolate. We can want to go through and feel like our loss is something no one else understands. I do believe that you two have a long-standing connection, correct?
Yeah, we do have a long-standing connection. And ironically, like, if you believe in coincidences or not, right? She lost her husband to the same thing that I had and did not die.
See, I don't believe I don't believe in
them. Yeah, I don't really believe in them either. But I think that the two of us were brought together for closure for her, for that, tragedy in her life.
Are there times that you know one another are not okay and can avoid the depths of the spiral?
Yeah, I think so. Having somebody who can so quickly pick up on your pain, so quickly pull you out of your pain, and remind you of all the good and all the greatness that we're both up to, and the impact that we're committed to making for others in this world of grief. It's invaluable to have that type of person in your corner. It allows you to fly.
What made you decide to do this and be a part of this when you're surrounded by so much every day already?
Yeah. Great question. So I think this working in this field has been in me for a long time. And at first I was just super curious, and then I got to experience it over and over again as a nurse. And I really discovered over and over again that people have a lot to say, whether you're the person who is passing away or the family or friends surrounding that person. There's so much to be said. And I'm just committed that those things get taken care of, and that people are just at peace, so that your grief it's centered around your loss, not centered around your regrets or your I shoulda, coulda, wouldas. That it's just love. It's just love, and that's all there is in the end. Forgiveness and, life. It's just been my experience that that's possible, and that makes a huge difference in those moments.
And our mutual friend, the way we connected, she and I, we didn't have a planning opportunity. She had a little bit, not so much. So many of us, car accidents or unexpected trauma, that's not there. So if you do have an opportunity, it's not a fun process, but when people are given the chance to have these conversations that the world shies away from, it's not comfortable, no one wants to discuss it.
Yeah.
You see these beautiful things happen.
Yeah, and I facilitate those conversations by asking permission. Hey Sam, can we talk about whatever? Well, I'll insert. Can we talk about your passing? Have you thought about that? Would you like to talk about it? I always ask permission, and it seems to work. And people are generally speaking grateful for the conversation.
And interestingly, Jim became an organ donor because I was. That might not be a conversation he would have considered, and what that has brought into my life because of the organ recipients.
Yeah.
Is it's changed my healing process.
Yeah, of course, right? Because now there's more love. And I think that's, if we allow ourselves, if we even create a culture where it's expected that when somebody passes, whether it be accidental suddenly or, chronic or just old age, that life could be celebrated, that life could be somehow living on, like passed on. The legacy. I talk a lot about legacy with my clients, and how do you want to be remembered? And people do not have an answer. They don't know. They haven't spent time thinking about it. So it's an interesting conversation, and I'm just honored to be the catalyst for it. It's I don't know. It's been a real fulfillment for me.
How often are children part of the conversation?
Children are part of the conversation from a legacy perspective. How do you want your grandchildren to remember you? I just had this conversation with my father 2 days ago. Hey Dad, have you thought about how you would like to be remembered? Do you want to write a letter to everybody? Do you want to make a video, a couple videos? Like, what do you want to do? And he was like shocked. And then he was like, I don't know how to do any of that. I'm like, it's not about knowing how. Just, do you want to? Because if you do, we'll figure it out together.
What about the people? So I work with so many of the family members of the relatives who are struggling to let go of. And so the family member who is resisting passing, who may not want to write those letters or do those videos, and the spouse or parent or child who knows those you're leaving would love that, but the individual is going through their own healing journey and not there yet, dealing with whether it's the physical or the emotional pain. Right? We have two different battles.
Yeah. If the person's not ready, then they're just not ready. This is not a time to convince, cajole, pressure. It's just, if you're not ready, you're not ready. It's okay. Like, everything is okay. Everybody's going to do this a little differently. Even the dying part of it, if it's a disease process or just the natural process, it's all different. It doesn't matter. It's all different. So you have to be okay with however it goes. usually I can have a conversation and get to the underneath of the why not, and then it could be many different reasons, and then folks are usually okay with a letter, or I'll dictate, they'll dictate and I'll write the letter. I love using technology to leave audio messages, so you get that voice as well. I kind of try to dive into how do people communicate and then access that communication. Some people, it's music, and I have, I have a family that are creating a soundtrack of this woman's life, their grandmother's life. And together, they're doing it together, picking her favorite songs from the various decades of her life. And they'll always have that, and it'll be a good memory. So I try to find different ways to kind of come at the same problem or the same situation.
Not everyone is, my dogs are a little rowdy out here for something, is as compassionate until you get to a hospice place. When you reach that level of care and you have people devoted to someone, then we have someone like you. What do you say to people in a situation when they're not receiving the best nurse or doctor care? I work really hard with my clients about how to advocate. It's not the easiest job. It can be a full-time job.
Yeah, patient advocacy is a full-time job, and it's thankless, and it's nobody wants to hear you. Again, my father's been in and out of the hospital, and I was that advocate because I'm the nurse in the family. And God, it was heavy, to be the no to the medical professional who maybe wasn't so used to hearing that word. But yeah, so I encourage people to speak up. I encourage people, you can practice with me. What would you like to say to the doctor or team? Let's practice. Let's roll it. So it's unfortunate that our healthcare system is the way that our healthcare system is. And it's not getting better. I think it's not going to get better. And that's a whole nother show, I'm sure. But we can still do something. We can still be voices. We can still make sure that we're heard, and we can empower others to speak for us when we can't speak for ourselves. And that's a lot of conversations that I have as well.
I know what concierge services mean. Others might not. What is the quietest house, and what exactly do you do with people? And do you have to be in Connecticut?
Yeah, great. Thank you for asking. So the quietest house, we're really just a consultation business that prides itself on creating a plan just for you. We get to know you. We get to understand the way that you express yourself. We get to understand what's important to you. And then we create an end-of-life plan. Kind of depends on where you're at. Kind of depends on what your needs are. But really, I have a network of folks. And I feel confident in saying that I can just about get to everybody's needs, whatever they are. It does not have to be in person. I am in Connecticut, and I will travel a little bit. Connecticut's a small state, so we do some traveling, but a lot of it can be done virtually as well. I hold little grief retreats, one day online kind of stuff where I offer opportunities to express your love and your loss. Maybe relocate your loss in a poem so that it's a little farther away from you. Find different ways to express that grief.
And I know that even being in Colorado, but in a newer area, I want to go to someone I trust. I don't want to just look something up and go to a random place. So part of even our book and having 27 stories and an entire network of people who are in this world is we all trust each other. We all have resources that we're pooling together. And so I can go to you, you can go to Kate, we can go to each other. And it is, if I don't personally know someone, but you do, I trust that more than something I'm going to look up and find randomly in Connecticut. So that's also what we're doing together as a new community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that grief actually belongs inside a community, in my opinion. I don't have anything to base that off of other than my experience. And I've seen magic happen when community gets involved.
Each of our authors has said, you know, I hate that we've connected this way, but I'm so glad we've connected. We don't like having loss in common, but we love having each other. And so to anyone who is listening, for whatever reason, if you're hurting, you can follow our stories before the book is out. That's why we're doing this now. We all do have a Quietus House or a Grief Hab or a community that you can become a part of now, so you're not struggling alone. Grief makes you feel alone. And our stories are not identical, but pain is pain. And we can share resources and help you get what you're looking for so you don't go through it alone.
Yeah, amen. Say it again, Samantha. Say it again.
What am I not asking about you? Your chapter is called Precious Time. What should people know?
People should know that I highlight two stories, two experiences, real life experiences that I've had, once as a nurse, once as a death doula. And it really is about those moments at the end of life where we can do so much living.
What's the best way to connect with you? If someone...
quietushouse.com.
quietushouse.com. Anything
I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn. Come on over. Let's have a chat. See if I can help out at all.
We're already talking about something in April of 2025 in Connecticut. So, you know, we're taking this on the road. We are not doing this because we believe our individual stories matter. We're doing this because we believe yours do. And we don't want you going through this without the resources that we went through it without, and that are so hard to find because there aren't billboards and commercials like there should be. Maybe one day.
Right. I can only imagine a world where like love and loss just coexist, you know, and it's okay. And people are okay with other people's grief. You know, it's like being okay with other people's love.
My biggest, I don't remember why, but at the time, falling apart in the grocery store was the big, like, oh my God, what if I have a meltdown? And of course, I manifested that into reality. So it happened. And I'll tell you, people were really compassionate. Yeah. I was like, oh, you know, it's not the end of the world. They're nicer than people on the freeway. They don't honk. They don't give you the finger, you know. And so I was like, this world out here is really, really mean and scary, but I am not going to keep it in. Like that tightness of fighting the meltdown was worse than the meltdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's important to kind of point out that whatever we think is going to happen, when it actually does happen, it's not nearly as bad as what we thought it was going to be.
So I was that crazy lady.
Yeah, but those people, you lost it, you let them in, and they showed up, and that's just beautiful.
Any last words? We do have a new group, Faces of Grief, for any of you to join and ask questions, follow along with us until the book is available. But last thoughts for everyone watching and listening.
Oh, so I just wanted to remind everyone, book's coming out in December, right? Do we have an actual date?
It is the week of National Grief Awareness Week. So it will be
Awesome.
at the event in Michigan sometime the week of the 2nd through the 8th.
Fabulous. I can't wait. And come on to Connecticut. Come on over.
Thank you so much for being here, being a part of this. Connect with Karen at thequietesthouse.com and follow us along in the Faces of Grief group. And until next time, always be ruthless.
Thank you, Samantha.